The mainstream news media is trying to push the idea that last night's elections was a horror show for Republicans and a great night for Democrats. Now, if you get your news from CNN or MSNBC, then you might want to stick around because my analysis is that neither party had a great night, but Republicans had a very decent night. Hey guys, and welcome back. Okay, a lot of Republicans are really down. They're discouraged. At the same time, the fake news folks are pretty jubilant. They're screaming victory. Okay, they're trying to milk it for everything it's worth. Now, when we think about the polls, even the fake news network polls said that Republicans were going to experience a giant red wave, and they didn't. And you know what happened with the votes. But there are some things that the fake news people are intentionally ignoring, and that's what I want to get into right now. First off, contrary to the wishful thinking of the fake news media, the Republicans are going to take back the House. That's pretty much a guarantee right now. And with the way things are going, if Herschel Walker wins the runoff election in Georgia in a few weeks, the Republicans will take back the Senate. Now, it's going to be slim margins, yeah, but it's important. But that's not just the stories of the night. There are other great things that happened last night that the press just won't tell you about, okay? For example, Ron DeSantis' win and Marco Rubio's win last night just settled it. Florida is no longer a swing state. It is a solid red state now. And that means a lot because Democrat money will now dry up there for the most part. People don't like to invest money in candidates when there's little to no chance of their goals panning out for the bucks that they want to put out. I think I heard one pundit on fake news channel say that it was like a warning bell saying that for the first time since Reconstruction, Florida does not have a single Democrat elected to statewide office. Folks, that's a huge win. Okay? So it has been a known thing that you cannot win Florida without Miami-Dade County if you're a Democrat. Okay? You just don't have the math for it. All right? Miami-Dade is extremely populous, and it is majority overwhelmingly Hispanic. Now, Hispanics in Miami-Dade always went with the Democrats, but not anymore. Ron DeSantis took Miami-Dade by 10 points. If you know anything about Florida, folks, that is a landslide, okay? Many Hispanic voters are finally realizing that the Republican Party is not the racist party that the lying Democrats have told them that it was all these years, and they're realizing that they have the same conservative values as Republicans. You want to talk about another landslide in Florida? DeSantis took Florida by 20 points. Folks, that's unheard of. It's usually by a couple of points someone wins Florida, okay? I think a lot of Republicans could learn a lot from what Ron DeSantis did, how he won it, okay? Let's listen to his victory speech because he gives the answer right here. Let's give it a listen.
We have embraced freedom. We have maintained law and order. We have protected the rights of parents. We have respected our taxpayers, and we reject woke ideology.
Right on, brother.
We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
There you go, folks. That's the attitude you have. Now, what happened for him was he delivered. Okay? Ron DeSantis delivered. And when you deliver for your constituents, which is what being in politics is supposed to be, right? You get elected to make people's lives better. Democrats have not done that over the last 2 years. In fact, they've made lives miserable, which is why what happened. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, another big win was in Ohio when J.D. Vance won the Senate seat there. He also secured Ohio as a red state. Ohio, as of last night, is no longer a swing state. And the same ramifications apply to Ohio as do to Florida for now for the Democrats. The money's going to dry up, okay? So check it out. When you add the electoral votes, which are the number of elected members of the House and the 2 senators, Florida's electoral count is 30, okay? They got a couple of seats. And the reason why they're picking up seats in California and New York and all are losing them is because conservatives, Republicans, are fleeing New York. They're running away from California. Okay, I think Florida was getting like 800 new people a day, something like that, and that's because they're leaving. So what happens is they take their tax dollars with them. They go to Florida, okay, and what happens is population is how it's determined. How many how many votes you get in the electoral college. It's based on the population. So when people leave your state, you're losing enough leave, you're losing votes. And those votes went to Florida. Okay? And that's because Florida's doing it the right way. Florida cares about people, their lives getting better. Okay? And that's pretty much by the government staying out of everybody's hair. I understand that a lot of leftists don't like Florida. They make stuff up about it and all. But overall, the people in Florida are pretty happy. And I think winning by 20 points is proof of that pudding, okay? So you have Florida's electoral count right now is at 30. So Ohio's red state is at 17. Now, add Texas, another red state that is now not a swing state, that they have 40, okay? And folks, if my Catholic school math is correct, they add up to 87 electoral votes. Now, you only need 270 to win the White House, right? Okay, 87 is a little over 1/3 of what's needed, just right there, right there. And for several years now, they're going to be red. Okay, so that's pretty damn good if you ask me. That's a pretty good night. It's not the red wave that we all worked hard for and were robbed of, but it's still good progress. So there's some other things that I want you to think about, okay? And I heard Bongino say this today. I'm going to hat tip him, okay? He pointed out, and I didn't even think of this, okay? He pointed out that when the Republicans do take over the House in January, just like Nancy Pelosi had to deal with the radical leftists like AOC's squad, okay? Whoever is the speaker now, he or she, because I'm not sure if it's going to be McCarthy or not, they're going to have to deal with the Conservative Freedom Caucus, okay? Unlike the radical leftists, the Freedom Caucus is very pro-American, right? So the Freedom Caucus is going to make certain demands. Things like who gets to sit on which committees. And believe me, folks, that's going to make a huge difference. As far as Joe Manchin, okay, he's up for re-election in 2 years. We're going to take that seat, that Senate seat. Because until he screwed over the country by voting for the Inflation Reduction Act, which is making things far worse so far, he was a shoo-in for re-election. He'll be out in 2 years, mark my words, okay? And get this now. Carrie Lake out in Arizona, she's a rock star, right? They love her out there, okay? She's a well-known figure in the news media for years, right? So Arizona has a serious border problem thanks to Joe Biden and the Democrats, okay? So she's on the ball, knows what she's talking about, has policies that will fix their border problem, make people's lives better. But now she's neck and neck with Hobbs. Hobbs is the current Secretary of State, okay, who runs elections, right? And she refused to debate Carrie Lake. All right, so now they're champing at the bit, the left, to try to call it for Hobbs. But I just found out at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time today that Arizona, as of right now, they still have 600,000 votes that need to be counted. And those ballots are from people who voted in yesterday's election. They went and voted. So people who go to the polls are usually overwhelmingly Republican. Democrats like to vote by mail, and they also like to vote early. So there is a chance that Carrie Lake will defeat the crooked Hobbs yet. So that race is not over. And even Blake Masters' race isn't over when you think about it. Okay? I think it was like 67 or 68% of the vote at that time when I looked at it. That would be about 2 hours ago. So another good thing is Murkowski lost in Alaska. That just made my night. You know, Shabaka, she won. And that means that we now actually have really 2 Republican senators in Alaska. It means things. All right, we lost Dr. Oz. Okay? I'm from Pennsylvania. We're not allowed to say why I believe he lost, but you know, okay? Another cool thing is that out of the 36 gubernatorial elections that were on the ballot this time, 18 Republicans won or are projected to win, and 16 Democrats won or are projected to win. There's 2 that remain in contention. I believe that's Arizona and Oregon is the other one. So you see, Patriots, it's not all doom and gloom. The polls said that it should have been a spectacular red wave for us, but it didn't really happen, okay? And did you really think that the Democrats were going to allow that to happen? Okay, so that's my take on the midterm elections as of right this minute. So things are changing rapidly. I'll probably do an update video as things go along. But I just wanted to get this out there because a lot of people were hitting me up and they're very upset, and there's not much of a need for right now for you to be that upset. It was a good night. Wasn't a great night. Wasn't a slam dunk, but it was a good night. Okay, could have been better, but it wasn't. We have to deal the cards that we were given, okay? So it wasn't as bad as we thought it would be, and it will be better. The things that happened last night are going to be good for the party and for the country in the near future, okay? So please visit rpwmedia.com to read all of our stories. It helps, so that's it. Thank you very much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one. God bless America.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars.